Hi everyone, it is Kat and Julie, and we are back for our next live class. So we are just so excited. We do this at least once a month. It's been really, really successful for us, and you guys are so great with all of your comments and everything. So you keep us coming back. So thank you. Little gratitude to start this off today. So happy November, everyone.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh. What is it? 8 weeks till Christmas?
I know.
I don't
We're not going to think about that right now. We just got through Halloween.
I know. So anyway, if you've joined us on our live class before, we usually do a giveaway. So I'm going to start off with that, but I just want to kind of touch base before I get into that of kind of what we're going to talk about here today. So today's class is all about stacking and layering jewelry, which is a huge trend right now. What we're going to do is we're going to show you a couple of different projects, and I'm going to show you how you can make an adjustable chain necklace, and I'm also going to show you how you can do gemstones and create a little focal and kind of create a double-tiered sort of effect. So I have some components over here that I'm going to be showing you how to do that. We're also going to be talking about just some of the various different charms and bracelet stacking and ring stacking, and Julie has a really great technique to show you as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to be showing you two different projects actually. I'm going to be showing you how to make this exact piece here but in gold, and this is a layered necklace, but it's actually just one necklace using strand reducers. So you get that really popular look, but everything is in one piece, which is very easy to do.
Less tangles.
Less tangles, and if you're in a hurry, it does help. Also, I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy noodle bead necklace using Beading Chain, which is a great layering piece. So we're going to be showing you a lot of different options on how to create this stacked layered look. And you might notice that Kat and I are not wearing any jewelry right now because we're going to be your models. We're going to show you how to put it on yourself, how it should lay, the lengths, and so we're just got very basic black tops on right now. I know the red hair, the black tops are matching. We did, yeah. So we're going to be showing you how to actually wear this jewelry, how to make this jewelry, and then also different components, because there is a little bit of a formula to get that look that's really popular right now.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking some rules of thumb and just, really, like Julie said, just the lengths and kind of standard lengths, especially if you're gifting. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when I start to do the adjustable chain. It's great for gifts.
Yeah, it really is.
So, and Julie's going to show you how to use the chain extender as well. So, as we don't want to talk about Christmas, we've got to talk about Christmas. So we'll be talking about that. But like I promised, there is a giveaway today. Yay. So I'm going to show you guys what we're giving away. So you can actually see, this is the piece here. It's this black flat piece, and it's a nice little stand. So we're going to be giving you one of these in a lovely little package here. But then we're also going to be giving you guys one of those adjustable chain necklaces here. Now this is a sterling silver chain, and you can just kind of see how sparkly it is just on that black there. So I just kind of move it around a little bit. It's a really beautiful chain. So we're going to be giving you a couple of charms to choose from here. Well, you'll get both of them, but you can put them on this chain or some other chains that you might have at home. And then I have a beautiful Saturn gold-filled chain. So this one has a little bit of interest. It's got those tiny little balls every, I'd say about 3/4 of an inch or so, I believe, on this chain. But this is a nice gold-filled, and of course we wanted to supply you with a couple of gold-filled charms as well. So to kind of make jewelry, we wanted to give you some of the basics here, and this we launched maybe over 2 months ago, and this has been a really great seller for us, so we wanted to make sure that we gave it to you guys. This is a 4-piece travel toolkit. So what you're going to get is you're going to get chain nose, round nose, and flush cutters, and then you're also going to get this great beading board, which is going to help you with sort of designing your beaded stuff, and it comes in this nice little case here, so it's great for travel. And I actually bought one of these myself because I'll be doing a lot of holiday travel and kind of fixing on the road or sort of adjusting things if you get to mom's house and you have to finish making her necklace. Sorry, mom.
Yes.
But this is a great little toolkit. So this is an over $50 value, so you can win this by commenting below. And just go ahead and let us know where you're tuning in from. If you have a question, that'll sort of count as your comment. And be sure to just kind of keep watching. So we'll give this away live at the end of our little class here today.
Yeah, and we definitely do want to hear your questions. This is really one of the reasons we do this is because this lets us interact with you guys right in the here and now.
Yeah.
So it's a nice opportunity to just talk and get your questions answered, or anything we can do to help. So if you've been seeing this trend, you've been seeing this look, and you have questions about it, please, this is a great time to ask those questions, and we'll answer them here live. And I'm sure other people have similar questions too, so it's helping others as well.
Yeah, so if you have a question, there are no stupid questions, no question too small, too big. Shout it out. We are here for you.
Absolutely.
So while you're thinking of your questions, I'm just gonna go ahead and dive right in and start making a project. Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Let's go for it. All right. So I told you that we have these adjustable chain necklaces. Now I want to show you the ones that we sell that are completed to start. So this is one of the ones, and this has a really nice sort of wheat chain. And what happens is this piece right here has a little silicone inside of it. So what you can do is you can just slide that chain through to adjust that length. So it's really nice and easy, and you know, if you do purchase this, you'll see how easy it really is. It doesn't hurt the chain at all. So that's one style, and I'm going to be making something similar to this with a silicone bead, but we do have these other ones here. Now this is a Venetian box chain, and these are all sterling silver, the ones that I'm working with here. But as you can see, if I can kind of get a little side view on there, it has a little button on the top. So for this one, it's going to be actually pinching down on that chain, but again, it doesn't really hurt the chain. So you just pinch it, and then it slides right through. So it's really nice, and these go up to 22 inches. So if you're layering necklaces, and let's say you want to sort of alternate your layers, or if you have a charm on this one and you wear a different necklace and you want that to be the longer one or the shorter one, this is a great kind of opportunity to sort of utilize that. So we have different styles of those sterling silvers, but since these only go up to 22, I'm going to show you how you can make a really long one. So I have 3 feet of chain here. Now this is a sterling silver diamond cut Rollo chain. This is 2 millimeters. So again, I just wanted to go for something really nice and sparkly. So what you're gonna do really easily here. All right, so and just to let you guys know, for tools, I have a couple pairs of chain nose pliers here and some flush cutters. Now I'm not gonna be cutting my chain right here, so I don't need my flush cutters right away. So what you're gonna need is I have a little sterling silver dangle bead. I have a spring ring clasp that actually has an open ring on the back. I have an Italian quality tag. Now I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it does say 0.925 to ensure that that is true sterling. I have some 4 millimeter 21 gauge jump rings here. And then I also have my silicone slider bead. And you can kind of see again, and you'll see when I open it, that that little ring on the bottom is open. So you don't need to sort of cut it of any kind. So to one end here, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach my little drop. Now you can use a teeny little charm, you can use a drop bead, you can use a little circular bead to kind of attach and just sort of something on the end there. You can see that these ones have the soldered balls on them. I'm just going to open that jump ring and slip on my little drop and then slip it onto the last link in that chain. And I'm just going to close that up. There we go. All right, so that's the first part. Now, the second part is going to be taking this and sort of sliding it right through. And, oh, you know, I have my little piece of wire on the side here that I did not prepare ahead of time. There we go. All right, so this is just a really thin little strip of wire here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of create a needle by slipping it through that last little hole there, bending it, and I'm gonna slip on my little silicone slider. And I'm gonna slide him all the way down to the other side. Now you can do this on this side as well. You can kind of, I did it a little backwards, but it works fine just the same. All right, so now I'm gonna slip off my little needle here. And then to this side, what I need to do is I'm just gonna take a little jump ring here. Oops, with my chain nose pliers. There we go. And I'm going to slip it onto the other side of my chain here. Close that up. So that will be where my hook is going to lie. So now to finish on this side here, you can see that I have my ring and it's already a little bit open. So I'm just going to open it just a smidge more. And I'm actually just going to try to do this with my fingers. Just, there we go. I'm going to slide on my little quality tag and close that up. And I'm just going to give it a little pinch, something I like to do just to make sure that it's nice and flush because I don't want that to come apart. And then the last little part here is I'm just going to open the ring on my clasp here, slide on my little quality tag, And now just sort of close that ring up. There we go. And again, I just want to make sure it's nice and flush. All right, so here's what you have now. So what's going to happen is you're going to take your spring ring and you're just going to open it and slide it on. Come on. There we go. All right, so now I have my chain ready to go, and now you can see that I can adjust it just by sliding it through that nice little silicone part. So now I have one here that is a little bit shorter, and now I have my one that's a little bit longer here. So if I wanted to layer that, what I would recommend is you're gonna want, if you're doing a nice long piece, some big anchor down here. So something that's a little bit larger. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. I have my little compass here. You know, I'm gonna choose this little moon charm here. So we'll do a little night at sea sort of theme here. So all I'm gonna do is just open this jump ring. Oops, actually, I believe this is a soldered jump ring. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is let's see if it will slide over the top here. Oops, nope. All right. Oops, and my quality tag actually slipped out because I did not secure it well enough. Sometimes that happens. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's see if I can get my little plier in there to secure that up. All right. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. Now we're nice and secure. Okay. So what I was going to suggest is to undo this, and then I can slide on my little charm here. Let's see if it fits over my little jump ring. All right, so here's another little trick. Choose your charm before you do it. I knew this was going to happen too.
Well, we have all been there. I know that this is a very common thing.
This is what we do all day, and it's like, oop, gotta go back a step.
Yes.
All right, there we go.
And I know we've got a couple questions waiting, and please stay tuned.
Sure.
I didn't want to interrupt Kat's process.
My process. You're so kind.
So.
Oh my goodness. All right.
There you go.
There we go. Ta-da. I feel like we should have music going while we do this. All right. So now I'm done. All right. So we had a couple of questions.
Question from Marty. Will the material in the slider wear out over time?
Hi, Marty. So the question was, will the material in the slider wear out over time? Mm-hmm. So the answer to that is, if you choose your proper chain, so on the website, on Beadaholique.com, we've listed the chains that work with these. Yeah. And that's going to be the key to it. If you do try to force a chain in that's too wide, it will wear out. It's going to become a problem. If you use one of the chains that we recommended, that we've tested, and we spent hours testing these, I will say that it was a process.
We wanted to make sure that you guys were going to get something that was going to fit, and we knew that it was going to fit.
Exactly.
Take the guesswork out of it. So.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, honestly, if you use this every day and you put it through a lot of wear and tear, anything over time will show some wear. Yeah. But if you're just wearing this, as a piece of jewelry that you would normally wear, it's going to hold. It's going to hold. So I think that's the best.
I think you're pretty solid. But again, that's why you also put that little dangle on the back so that if it does start to wear out, you won't lose your chain or lose your charm or anything like that. So.
Yeah. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah.
But it is a nice fit, and it's really solid in there. I know it's probably quite hard to see on camera because it's so small, but it is really nice and solid in there. Yeah. And then we had a second question.
Question from Nina.
Hi, Nina.
She's had trouble with small jump rings not holding securely. They feel wobbly. Any suggestions?
So the question was that small jump rings are not holding very securely. They feel kind of wobbly. I would say try going up a gauge, going a little bit thicker. So remember with wire gauges that the bigger the number, the thinner the wire. It's a little bit counterintuitive.
Yeah.
So it's like a 24 gauge jump ring is thinner than a 22 or a 21. I would say try going with a little heavier jump ring. and that will hopefully give it just more strength, because the thicker the wire, the stronger it's going to be.
Yeah, and you just, I mean, the test is always just to make sure it's going to fit through your chain as you need it to, but I would also recommend that if you want to go with something a little bit larger, you can always try a split ring as well. So that could be an option. So the way a split ring works is it kind of overlaps at a certain point. So it's like a keychain where if you were to kind of slide on your keys, you'd have to wrap it around.
Yeah.
So that's one option, because that can just be a little bit stronger.
Right.
But also with a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today, it is kind of delicate jewelry. So it is sort of that, as long as it fits, which is going to be your 22, 21 gauge, go with that. But yeah, try to see if you can push it and see if a 20 fits or see if a 21 fits if you're using a 22. It really can make a fair amount of difference, actually.
Yeah, so. I think that's a good tip. Just experiment and try, but if you are finding they are wobbly, also just make sure that they're closed really well. I know it can be hard sometimes, but just, make sure there's not, if I can do this. So when you close it, you don't want there to be a gap between the two ends. So you want them as flush together as possible, and that's what's going to help keep them really stable and solid. So I think since Kat just made a lovely long piece, I think I'm going to go in and make a shorter layered necklace. So with Kat, she has two different pieces, and what's great with hers is they both are that adjustable, so she can alter their lengths a lot, which is great. If you want something that is a similar look, I'm going to do a shorter version though, because really we are seeing two different trends with the stacking and layering jewelry. We're seeing the trends where it's really almost the top half of your body. You've got something here, 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 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces, and then we're seeing ones that are much tighter up where they really don't go below the chest. And that's really a piece that I made here. And so it is a triple strand necklace, but it looks like 3 different necklaces based upon my choices, but they are all connected in the back with the strand reducers. And what I have done is I've used a necklace extender chain, which allows you to change the length by several inches. So that's great if you are making it for a gift, or you want to be able to adjust the length you wear it at. This particular piece does feature a choker style necklace, which for me, some days 12 inches feels great. Some days 12 inches feels like it's strangling me.
Yeah.
And then other days is like 14 inches. So I personally want the option to adjust a choker based on just how I'm feeling that day. Some days I'm just like, I don't want anything tight. Other days I'm like, oh, I really want that look. So let me show you how to make this. And I think we do have a question real quick before I start in.
We have several questions on whether there are different size sliders and how do you know what gauge chain to use with each of them.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, so for this particular sterling silver one, we do list the chain, and I believe this is a 2mm Rollo diamond cut chain that fits with this particular one. But we also do have various sizes, and I'm actually going to kind of jump ahead just a little bit here. So there's different size sliders. So this is not a clasp. It doesn't have a loop, as you can see, but it does slide on this chain, and this chain is very different. So for each slider, if you look on their product description, you'll see a list of chain that goes with that slider. So it is unique to each slider. Each one has a different sort of size. I don't know if you can kind of get like a little view into the inner core of this, but you can see that white slider portion in there, and then you can see how the chain fits through there. So again, it's incredibly individualized with each slider, but we do make sure that we list that at beadaholique.com. So if you're looking for adjustable sliders, you'll see exactly the chain that will match. And we've also tried to create several projects so that if you wanted to make this, you'll know that it fits. If you wanted to make this necklace, you'll know that it fits. So, and that's a big reason why we do a lot of our projects, is because it takes the guesswork out of which gauge works, which style or size or anything like that. So it's all kind of there for you.
Yeah, and I would say I'm always a huge promoter of experiment, try it out, see if it works. In this particular case, I'm going to say look at the description and see which chains work. Yeah. We really did spend hours testing chains so that we could get them right, because we knew that was going to be a big thing. Is you're ordering this really fun, innovative type slider clasp. You want to be able to use it, you want to be able to enjoy it, but we have hundreds of chains on Beadaholique.com, so we wanted to make sure that we listed for you the ones that really would fit. So there's a lot to choose from, but please do look at them and choose one of the ones that we've listed, just because even if you look at the measurements and you're like, this other chain is the same measurement, it might just be shaped a little bit differently. So
I was going to say, I was like, you can't always say like, oh, all 2mm chain's going to work.
Right.
So that was something that we had to kind of discover, but we were glad that we could do it for you so that, you guys know that you're getting something that fits.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to keep asking the questions, and we will break away and answer them as they come in, but I'm going to go ahead and make this full triple strand necklace in gold to show you how to make a layered necklace, because we really wanted to not just talk about this trend, but show you how to make pieces. So I'm going to borrow the ruler from Kat.
Sure.
So if you are doing a shorter piece like this, a really good rule of thumb is to have at least or around 2 inches difference between each of your necklace lengths. So I'm going to do a 12, a 14, and a 16, and then add my findings, which will add about another inch. So the choker is going to be about 13 inches. A standard choker is about 13, 14. I have a little bit of a thinner neck, but I'm adding my chain adjuster, so it's going to be able to vary by several inches. So I'm going to start right here, and if we look down here, I have 1 foot of this really pretty sequin link chain, and that's perfect. 1 foot, 12 inches, we're good to go. So I'm just going to start by taking my strand reducers and some little 4mm jump rings, and I'm going to open them with my chain nose pliers and put them on my strand reducers. So these are a little 3-strand reducer. They do come in all sizes. You also have the option that you could connect this to a tube clasp if you don't want to have like an adjustable chain. I'm just gonna reach in front of the camera super fast. Well, actually, we'll just have the camera look down here. So there's a bunch of different tube clasps that this would work for the same project, but I did want to have the adjustable chain, and then there's other styles of strand reducers with different amounts of links and little connectors, so you have a lot of options. But we're going to use this pretty little one here by Tiara Cast, and I'm just going to link a jump ring right to that end sequin and then also the end loop. And then I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing, making sure that my chain is not twisted. So I'm just going to really build this one by one. Ah! Fiddly little guys.
And we have another question I'm going to kind of answer as Julie's working here.
Question from Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Are these sliders able to be used on leather as well as chain?
So I would not recommend using them on leather just because the silicone could actually break down the leather a lot faster than it would a chain. Again, like it's sort of it's a sizing thing, because you have to also understand that if it fits the 2mm leather, eventually it won't. It won't wear down the silicone, it'll wear down the leather. And the leather can be really, what am I trying to say? It can be really sensitive to stuff like that, to sort of something sliding on it.
Yeah, repeated rubbing.
Yeah, like, and the thing is that sort of is great. Like, have a pair of leather boots, they wear in really nicely because they kind of stretch out, with wear. It's the same with sort of putting that pressure on it. So I wouldn't recommend it for a leather chain, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or a leather round cord.
But great question. Really good question.
Yeah. If it didn't wear down so much, absolutely. But.
All right, so I'm going to make now the second necklace. So this was 12 inches. Now, so the next one I want to be 14 inches. So I've got 8 inches of this gemstone chain here, and this is individually wire wrapped gemstones. It comes like this, which is amazing. First off, I want to show you how you would cut this chain to your length. So you can order it by the inch, and I've ordered 8 inches here. But perhaps you just have a bunch of it at home and you want to use it for different projects, you want to be able to cut it. So first off, I want to show you how to cut it. So if we look really closely at this chain, you'll see there is an inner basically strand of these gemstones. Right here you see where they're connected, and that's what's really creating the foundation for the chain, and then you've got all these dangles. So you're not going to cut the dangles to cut the chain. You're going to look right here where these two links connect, and you want to make sure you have an end loop that will be fully intact. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut the one next to it that you don't want, and there you've got a nice intact loop to connect a jump ring to. And then definitely save these pieces because you can always use little gemstones. So I never toss any of that. So because I want my next piece to be 14 inches long and I've got 8 inches of chain here, I need to add 3 more inches of chain on each side. So I have some Rollo chain here. We do love our Rollo chain. This is a really nice chain, whether you're making delicate jewelry or just any type of jewelry that is just, it's just a nice pretty chain, this 2mm Rollo.
Yeah, it's a great standard chain. It fits a lot of just various designs that we find. So yeah, so one of our favorites.
It is. So I need 8 plus 6 to equal 14. So there's my 6 inches right there. And then I need 3 inches on each side. So I'm just going to cut right there. And then I'll add that with jump rings to each side.
And you can see this is why we wanted to give you guys that toolkit so that you'll be able to create these pieces, because while we are both using 2 pairs of chain nose pliers, you could also use a round nose plier and a chain nose plier.
Got distracted. I'm sorry, everyone. Oh. I need to connect this to the chain first, and then that. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Kat. I just realized that I was...
We're both doing it today. You know, why do we do this on Fridays? I don't know. Towards the end of the week, and
especially a holiday week with Halloween.
Oh, I know. It does feel like a little bit of a strange week.
It does.
Yeah, so don't forget, guys, we might look perfect, and our videographer does a fantastic job of making us look great, but when we're live, this is how it is. Sometimes we are constantly making mistakes or going back and going, oh, I bet I could do it differently or something. So we do a lot of experimenting here. So definitely don't feel like if you do that at home that you're behind or anything like that. We are still always experimenting and always kind of trying stuff. But again, like I said, that's why we do the projects, so that, we can try to take some of that guesswork out, especially if you're just starting. The free tutorials and videos is a great place to start. So...
Absolutely, and we're always looking for more ideas too. If there is something you've been wanting to learn or you've been curious about, really this class came about because there had been questions about how do you do stacked and layered jewelry. A lot of our classes do come about because people have written into customer service, or they've written on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram questions, or given us ideas, things they'd like to see, because it is nice to be able to really see it live and be able to ask questions.
Yeah, it's a big part of why we do these. So
here, I'm just going to make sure before I connect this that my gemstone chain is not kinked up at all. It's all these wonderful little components. Okay, so I made sure that the middle loop is what I was connecting this to on both strand reducers. So pay attention. That's important to make sure that you're paying attention to that. All right, so it looks quite a bit longer right now. When this wraps around your neck, it's not going to. So we've got 12, we've got 14, and now we want 16. And I'm going to use the same Rollo chain and do a 16-inch. And you can do a different chain. I wanted to pick the same chain because this particular chain is sold by the foot, and I wanted you to be able to purchase 2 feet of chain and be able to do that whole project. But definitely feel free to mix and match your chains. So on this one, I want to add this little charm. So I have some other charms right here I'm going to show you. So this is a little Om charm, but you see there's little zodiac symbols, little alphabet charms, which is great for personalization. If you want to, put the loved one's initial on there. There's an anchor, there's a wishbone, a little robot. So one thing I really love about this trend is often you'll see one charm mixed in with all the different layered necklaces. And it's a great way to add a personal touch, whether it is that initial charm or it is something else.
And this is a great time to kind of talk about scale, you know, as I was choosing my charm. You know, you can do something larger on the bottom and smaller on the top, or even just keep it all really nice and delicate. Like Julie's choosing to do here, her bottom layer is going to feature that nice little itsy nun design charm. So something just really, really fun. And there's kind of no wrong way to do this because it's so personal. But we do have some tips on how to get that look.
Yeah, it is a fun look. It lets you actually even pull in pieces that you have made in the past and kind of give them new life and wear them together. It's a great opportunity to wear multiple pieces of jewelry. And I knew I was going to do this. I would rather just, so here's a little tip. I like to just link the jump ring onto the chain versus slide the chain through the jump ring. To me, that's a little bit easier. So here I'm just going to go like this around the length of the chain. There we go.
Yeah, sometimes I find that easier to do that as well. It just seems to be a little snugger.
Yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish this piece off, at least as far as the strand reducer is concerned. So we're connecting to all of them, all the little loops. Okay, so we've got the base part of our necklace done. And now we just need to add the clasp and add this little chain extender. Now I chose a little bit larger scale clasp. Personally, I like to use a little bit larger ones just because they're easier to work with. When I'm trying to kind of fiddle on the back of my neck, I like a little bit of a larger clasp sometimes. So that's why I chose a little bit larger one. And so I'm going to create a little fake chain. Well, I guess it's not a fake chain, it's a real chain, but I'm going to create a little chain out of jump rings to add a little bit of distance between the loop of the strand reducer and my clasp, which I find it easier to hold on to that way, which also adds a little bit of length. So if you are looking to gain any more length, this is a great little tip. And then I'm going to want to put this on, or at least hold it up to my neck when it's done so you can see how it would lay. Okay, so now I'm going to grab that clasp, connect it on, and now on the other side we're going to do the chain extender. If you're making holiday gifts, I really do recommend the chain extender. It's such a simple thing to add, but it gives your recipient more flexibility in how they're going to wear it. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to hold it up to my neck. This is why we wore black. But here we've got the 3 strands. Would you mind pulling that little charm down to the center for me?
There you go, little guy.
Okay. So then this would lay like that. So you can have it as tight to your neck as you want, or as loose as you want, but it's nice where you get that 3-strand effect, you get that tiered look, and you see what the distance is by just adding 2 inches. Here, I'll hold it like this, it might be a little easier to see. So that's 2 inches extra per strand. So the top one was 12, 14, and 16, and that's about the gap you get when you have about 2 inches between each.
Yeah, and even as a longer set, even if you weren't wearing anything shorter, it's really nice. It's a great little piece.
And honestly, you could convert this exact same design to a longer set by just adding more chain right here, and you would just see those strand reducers, but that could be really pretty too.
Oh yeah, to just add 1 length of chain all the way around the back.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
So that would be an easy way to change this design up.
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, feel free to definitely alter some of the designs that we have shown you guys here. So,
Yeah.
All right, so I want to show you something just kind of really quick. So this is the necklace that I was working with earlier, and I'm going to put it on and I'm going to show you, because we get a lot of questions about necklace length, and I'm going to actually try to clasp this on live. All right, so now with the neckline that I'm wearing, it kind of almost falls behind it. You can kind of see that it's almost a little hidden. So what you can do with this one is, because it has that little strand silicone piece on it, you can make it just a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. And again, I'm going to try to do this. Get all my hair out of the way. All this hair, oh my goodness. Thanks, Mom. But yeah, so I can then lengthen it so it lands just in front of my neckline now. So now it's not going to dip into my shirt. And I find that sometimes when I wear like tiny little charms right up here, if I'm wearing a higher neckline, I don't want it to kind of disappear. So this is a great little kind of adjustment to that way, you know, not only for what you're wearing, but, you know, for comfort. So, yeah,
absolutely.
So just a little tip there.
And I know we did get another question while you were doing that.
Sure.
Question from Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly.
What size jump rings do you prefer when you're attaching charms?
Oh, so that's a great question. Kimberly asked, what size jump rings do you prefer when attaching charms? My choice is usually dictated by the chain and the ring on the charm. So in this case, it was a little bit of a dainty charm and a thinner chain, so I used a 4mm. 5mm is really good and basic. I'd say like a 5mm 21 gauge is going to be pretty universal.
Yeah.
It will go around a lot of chain links. I don't usually go too much bigger than that, just because it starts to look kind of big and it might flip around a little bit when you're positioning it. So I'd say a 4 if I can get away with it for a delicate charm, and then a 5 for a pretty universal.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of the sterling charms come with jump rings on them. However, some of them might be a little bit too large for the chain that you're working with. So feel free to take off the jump ring that comes with it. You can kind of switch it out. Now, we do have some pieces here that obviously feature really large jump rings, but this is sort of part of the design with something like this. So you're going to get like a really thick gauge jump ring on there, but you know, you can see it's just really, really part of the design. Now, if you look kind of closely here, you can see some of these guys have little oval jump rings, and some have some sort of, in my personal opinion, a little bit of an odd scale jump ring that comes with it. This is a little bit large. I'm going to guess that's almost 6 or 7 millimeters actually. So I would probably switch out the jump ring on a charm like this for something a little bit more delicate. Yeah. So I feel like you could probably get away with a 4 or even a 5 in a 20 or 21 gauge. Yeah. So again, I think Julia had a great tip. It really kind of more depends on the chain that you're using and a little bit less about the charm, but definitely have to consider both.
Yeah. So. And we have another question.
Question from Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
She's having trouble with necklaces getting imbalanced or getting tangled together if there's more than one strand. Any tips for that?
Strand Reducer.
All right, so the question was, she was having troubles with the necklaces getting tangled together. And were there any tips to help with that? I think a Strand Reducer is a really good tip, because if you look at it here, what it does is it does separate them out. So there's a little bit of a gap between each of them. So that really helps to create a nice gap, and it keeps them in line with each other. So that's one tip for sure. The other one would just be, you know, definitely one at a time, take them off and put them on. So like, I know for me, if I'm in a hurry and I've got like 3 long necklaces, I just kind of rip them all off together.
And then they kind of go.
And then, and I'd be like, okay, I got to just take them off one at a time.
Yeah. And I mean, I do find myself sometimes throughout the day kind of adjusting and having to sort of fix it a little bit. But yeah, if you are wearing, let's say you're wearing 3 separate necklaces, I think Julie's got a great tip. Put them on one at a time, take them off one at a time.
And this tip is coming from the person who puts all her jewelry in a little dish and then has to untangle every pair of earrings and every necklace and every bracelet. So I get it.
But what you could also do is, Julia was pointing out these tube clasps. So for example, you could actually take a lobster clasp and clasp it here and add a jump ring. So let's say you wanted to just make this triple strand that you wanted to wear just for that one day. So add a little jump ring and add a little lobster, and then you can kind of lobster it up so you've created a quick little triple strand. Now it just takes a quick little, you know, jump rings on hand type of situation, but it could work, you know, in terms of that way it's at least in one piece, so you could take it off in one piece.
Well, yeah, and that's a great tip. If you find a trio that you love and you want to keep recreating it, that's a very easy way of doing it. I'll just show you real quick with this one right here, kind of a good illustration of what she means. You can just take that lobster and literally clasp it to it, and then you just add a jump ring on the other side. But there you go, you've got your necklace.
Yeah, you would add a jump ring to this other side so that you created it, and then the clasp just slides apart, so you can just put it on then.
Yep.
Yep. So that could work if you have separate necklaces that you want to wear together, but try to want to keep separated, or at least easy to take off, and then you can kind of separate.
Right.
I've definitely done that before, where it's like, okay, now we have to put everything apart. We have another question.
Question from Pat.
Hi, Pat.
Can you use vintage paint with sterling silver?
The question is, can you use vintage paint with sterling silver? I believe you can.
Yeah, I don't
If
see
you
why
are
not.
going to use patina, I would recommend using plated jewelry, but it's entirely up to you. I don't think it will harm the sterling silver at all. In fact,
think so.
silver plate is just sterling silver plated.
Yeah.
So this might actually be kind of a good opportunity to talk about some of the different metals. And we do get a lot of questions of what is sterling, what is gold filled, what is gold plated. So just kind of a quick little background on that. So for the sterling, what you'll notice is a lot of it says 0.925. And what that means is that the silver content is 92.5%. And that is what is sterling silver. So when you're getting like a silver plate, it means that sterling silver is plated on top of it. It's usually electroplated through pressure and heat. But it's over like a copper or oftentimes a brass.
Yeah, like a base metal.
Yeah, so you're always going to get that base metal. But sterling silver means that your component that you're working with there is 92.5% sterling silver, true silver. So gold vermeil is something where it is gold plated over sterling silver. So we get that question a lot. What is gold vermeil? Let's see, gold plated is the same. So so sometimes you'll see like 14 karat gold plated or 24 karat gold plated. That just means the content of the gold that is plated onto your brass or copper or, like Julie was saying, like your base metal there. And then gold filled is sort of a little bit of a different thing, because there can be different variations on gold filled. Let's say, I'm going to get to talking about the rings here in just a moment, but you have something that is 1/20, and that means that it is 20% gold filled, because gold is never actually 100% gold, even those, big gold bricks that you see in movies and stuff, if they are gold. But they'll always say 99.99%. So it's never actually 100% gold, because there's always going to be those little trace metals in there and that kind of thing. So gold filled and sterling silver are going to give you a little bit more value. There's a little bit more gold there. You can also get something that's 1/40, 1/50 for gold filled. So it just kind of depends on the carat and the plating there.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention this, because if you are looking at the stacking and layering jewelry trend, you're seeing a lot of these terms come up.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're mentioning it, and that's why we pulled all of the sterling and the gold filled, because what we were noticing when we were researching this class, and just what we've been seeing out there in the magazines and just in life, is a lot of people are layering sterling silver necklaces, silver filled necklaces, gold filled, and so those terms are coming up a lot.
Yeah, and it's just the quality of the product or the value. So if you are looking at something that is gold filled and you're wondering why it's more expensive, it's a different process than a gold plating. So that's really kind of why. And speaking of that though, you can do a lot of these designs by even mixing your metals. So it doesn't have to be all gold or all silver. You can do like beautiful gold filled and sterling necklaces together. So it's just all kind of about the little look that you want. And there's also rose gold filled as well. So lots and lots of options.
So many choices, yes.
Oh my goodness, so many choices. Well, that's kind of the fun thing about layering and the stacking, is that it can just, you can have all of these pieces, or just add on a charm or add this piece, and you have a completely new look for whatever you're working on. So it's really cool.
Actually, speaking of choices, this might be a good time to talk about some of these trays that we have down here. So what we've noticed a lot of is usually if you're layering, there tends to be an interesting chain as one of the layers. So whether it's like the sequin chain, this little like bunting, the fishbone, or this one here, which is so pretty, there tends to be different types of chains mixed together. So I did do my necklace where I used the Rollo in combo with the sequin, and I did that in part for value, because I knew that the feature of this was going to be the gemstone, so I wasn't too concerned about the chain up here. But oftentimes you'll see 3 or 4 different styles of chain, and then you'll see a really graphic element oftentimes. So something like these little chevrons, a noodle bead, this great little honeycomb shape, even these zodiac stuff or a lightning bolt, there'll be something which is just very visually striking, graphic, and bold. You might see a little sparkle. So we've got like these little Swarovski channel charms, the evil eye, these wonderful drops. And then over here, another thing that is popular is just put a single charm or a single tassel, or like Kat was mentioning, if you're doing a longer necklace, you want to think of the scale of that longer necklace. And so perhaps you want a really beautiful drop. And we've got like the drusies and the gemstones. So those are different components to play with. So think about mixing and matching your chains, thinking about a charm, a noodle bead, a graphic chevron shape, maybe just even a long spike or a gemstone. Those are all different things to mix and match. So you can do a gemstone, you can do gemstone chain, you can do a charm chain, and then you can do like a heavier gemstone at the bottom.
Yeah, there's like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of options and there's kind of no wrong way to do it. It's just about balancing it out. And, that's, heavier on the bottom, a little lighter on the top, having an interesting chain, I think is the best place to start with something like this.
Yeah, and I would also think about wearing the necklaces at different lengths. That would be the one tip is, you might have 3 necklaces. Probably try not to have all 3 right on top of each other at the same length where it's hitting you, but instead try to stagger them.
Yeah, I have seen where, you can wear like 5 or 6 necklaces and you have all these teensy little charms up here. And now that, to me, makes me go, they're going to get tangled. But I have seen it done and it looks very pretty, very delicate. But again, like you wouldn't want like one charm to be really large and then another charm to be delicate at the same height. So that's another thing. So if you're looking at like, especially some of these sterling ones where you could do like 3 like teeny little charms. Let's say I wanted to choose, these 4. Okay, so these go kind of in scale together. But you see how if all of a sudden I try to add in this one, it's just a little bit too big, even though it's not a big charm, but it's just too big for those 3. So if you just kind of wanted to do at that same height, but I don't know, I kind of like giving them all a little bit of room to be seen. So I would even just do like a 14, 16, and 18, just so you kind of, even if they're all 3 the same, kind of delicate. But that's my personal preference. But we'd love to hear what you guys are doing with these. So by all means, shout it out.
Yeah, for sure. We love hearing what you guys are up to.
Yeah. So this is actually a good time. I'm going to kind of remind people of the giveaway. So if you're just joining us now, I'm going to be giving this away today. All right. So this here, I wanted to keep it nice and packaged and fresh for our winner here. But it is this black display piece here. And this will kind of help you when you're not only planning out your jewelry, but also a nice little display on your desk there. I always like to look at pretty things at work. So we're going to be giving that to you. And then we have a sterling silver adjustable chain here. And this is going to have that nice little button on it. So you're going to be able to sort of adjust to the length that you need. And this will go up to 22 inches. We have a couple little charms here, and Julie was mentioning a drop, so this is a really great example of that. So just a nice little long bar drop, so really, really beautiful. And then we have a little compass, and then we have a gold-filled chain here, and this is a Saturn chain. And I have a couple little charms here as well. And then we have our 4-piece travel toolkit. So this is going to have that round nose, chain nose, cutters, your board, and this nice little carrying case. So it's a nice little plastic case to travel with. Yeah. So really great little value. It is over $50. So all you have to do is leave a comment during our live feed here and you are entered to win. All right, so we're going to move on. And I'm going to show you another necklace piece here, but then we're going to start talking a little bit about rings and bracelets. So if that is sort of more your style, I know some people are definitely all about the bracelets or rings or anything like that. So I'm going to kind of start, and I'm going to move a little bit quickly with this one.
Yeah, and then I think really quick before we move to the bracelets, after you finish that, I'm going to show just super fast how to attach a crimp end to beading chain and add a noodle. I won't make the whole necklace because I think we spent a while on necklaces now, but I will do that super quick just because I promised I would at the beginning.
I know. I was like, I feel like we must fulfill promises. And so, all right. So I'm going to start here by making this little link. And I'm just going to take off some little gemstones from my strand here. And I have a 22 gauge eye pin. And all I'm going to do is kind of get on these gemstones here. Now, tiny gemstones can sometimes be a little bit finicky with their size. So this is sort of, you're gonna see that not all of them are gonna fit on my little chain here, but I didn't wanna go with any thinner of a wire because it would sort of get bent. So I just wanted to make sure. So all I'm gonna do is just kind of link up a few of these. Oh, see, that one doesn't fit, so I'll set him aside. But yeah, so even at 22 gauges, at a 22 gauge wire, sometimes your gemstones just simply don't fit. They're just really teensy tiny. So you always want to be kind of looking out for that. All right, just gonna get a few more on here so I can create a nice long little link here. Yeah, let's see if these guys fit. Nope. All right, I'm gonna take off a couple more colors here. I want to get a nice little color splash going, a little variety. Alrighty. And one more, I think. Okay. Well, of course my one more doesn't fit. All right, last one. There we go. Okay. So what I have now is I've just slid it down to the end there, and all I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my concave round nose pliers here, and you can see I have a little bit of blue painter's tape on there, and all that does is just help protect that wire a little bit so that it is nice and easy to make a little simple wire loop. I'm just going to kind of loop that around and cross it over. Then I'm going to come in with my flush cutters and trim that off. All right, so now I've created this little fun kind of link that is going to go on my chain here. So I'm gonna start, and can I have that ruler, Julie?
Of course.
Thank you. All right, so the first length that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an 18-inch. So there's 15 and 18. All right. Trim that off. There we go. All right, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna start and kind of go a little bit back and forth here, just because I want to make sure that I am excited about my length. Okay, so I also have some charm chain here. Now Julie left hers intact, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim off some of these jump rings here to sort of separate these charms, because I want to create something kind of fun. So I think I'm actually only going to use 3. And the nice thing is that we sell this charm chain by the inch, so you can see how many of those little dangles you're really getting in an inch. All right, so to the center of my chain there, just gonna kind of eyeball it here. There we go. I'm going to open a jump ring, and again, I'm using those 4mm jump rings. There we go. I'm gonna slip on one of my little, oops, one of my little flag charms there, and I'm gonna slip him onto the center link of my chain. All right, now here's a little tip when you guys are gonna do something like this. So on the Rollo chain, and I'm gonna spread it out here so you can really see and keep it nice and taut. So you can see that that jump ring is right on the bottom of that chain. So when you're adding it to the links, you're gonna need to add it to the same facing links. So I'm gonna show you what I mean there, because this I had to learn the hard way a couple of times. All right. So really quickly here.
As Rachel's doing that, or I'm sorry, as Kat's doing that, Rachel has let us know that we have a question.
From Elle.
Hi, Elle.
Do you have any tips on creating a nice loop at the end of wire, and what was the tool you just used?
Oh, sure.
So do you have, okay, her question is, do you have any tips on creating nice loops at the end of wire, and what was the tool that was used? So while Kat is doing that, I'm going to show you the tool real quick. If she could just hand it to me.
Oh, sure, there you go.
This is my all-time favorite tool. I have it at home. Sarah, our co-founder here, introduced it to us. So this is a wire looping plier. This has a round nose and a concave nose. And actually, Kat, do you mind if I take your tape off?
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, I want to show you what it actually looks like. So there's it, and it is, you see it's concave, and the round nose fits right into it. And if there's any spare wire, maybe a scrap or something.
I have a little bit.
Okay, there's a little
scrap.
There's a little scrap. Okay, this takes some of the guesswork out for you. So if you look at it, when you squeeze it, it creates part of the loop for you. And then you can just bend it around. And this is definitely a scrap, but there we go. So we just made a little loop. And this is a must-have tool. I love this guy. They're called wire looping pliers. This is my personal favorite one, and I use it all the time. I actually don't use round nose pliers anymore myself. I only use this guy. It's just, I feel like I have more control. Also, what I like is that concave nose grabs it. So if I am doing anything else with the wire, it just is a nice, secure, almost like a vice-like grip. So a great tool. You can find it at beadaholique.com. I think it's a must-have.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We all have one on our desk.
Yeah. So we do a lot of wrapped wire loops, simple wire loops. It's great for that. You can also, if you look at the nose, it is a tapered nose here. So you can make really tiny loops, or you can make larger ones. So you can vary the size of your loops. And like I said, I know we've all got them at home. We've all got them at work. And it's really one of these tools that we can stand behind and say that we love. So perhaps if you been wanting to get yourself a little treat or something, this is great. Or if you're wanting to give a gift to a beader, this is a really nice gift.
That is a really good gift, because unfortunately, I think a lot of people don't know about that tool.
Yeah.
So it's a really great kind of opportunity to be like, oh, hey, I thought you might like this. So very cool. All right, so I'm just finishing up here.
Maybe as you're finishing that,
Yeah,
I'm going to just go ahead and show one other little technique here. So I like noodle beads. They're a really graphic element. I'm going to slide some on some beading chain. So this is beading chain, and if you look at it, there's no loops to connect a jump ring to. What's nice is you buy it by the foot, and you just cut it with your wire cutters, and you can cut it to any length you want. Super easy to cut. And I'm going to just be able to feed it through a noodle bead. And it's a little bit stiff, which is nice. So it just feeds right through a noodle bead, and you see it comes out the other side. And then if I was to hold this up to my black shirt, you see it's just a really nice element. And so this is a great piece to consider for layering jewelry. And to finish the ends of the beading chain, there are these handy little crimps. So I've got my crimping plier right here. And you see this is basically it's a crimp bead with a loop. And so I'm just going to place it into my crimping plier into that back notch. And then I'm just going to feed the beading chain into it. I'm going to just make sure that loop is twisted around. There we go. Now you can maybe see it better. Okay, so I'm just putting that chain into the little loop and squeezing. So crimping it the same way I would crimp a crimp bead. Then rotate, put it in the front notch of my pliers, and crimp again, and you can see it folded over on itself. And now it's secure, and I have a ring suddenly to attach a clasp to. So if I was going to finish this piece, I would just do the exact same thing on the other side, and then just attach a jump ring to one side, a clasp to the other side, and you suddenly have a necklace. Super fast, super quick, super easy, but it does create a really nice layering element if you are doing layered jewelry. So you could wear this alone, and I think it's a great just modern piece for if you're going out to a holiday party, but let's say you do want to create some extra pieces to layer and mix and match. This is a fun one.
Alrighty, so I kind of jumped a little bit ahead and just sort of finished this up. So all I did to the ends of my chain is I added a jump ring and a lobster clasp and a jump ring on this side. But I have those 3 little teensy tiny little dangles right down there. So something really, really small. And so I'm gonna set this piece aside here. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my unfinished chain here, and I'm gonna take a jump ring, slide on my little lotus here. And what I want to do is I'm just going to sort of thread that down so that it sits down there right at the center. All right. So this is kind of a little bit of a backwards thing. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to finish this first before I show you how to add on your gemstone chain, or your little gemstone link, excuse me. All right, so again, you'll just kind of see, and I did this exact same thing on the other side off camera there. There we go. And one more little jump ring on the other side. All right. Okay, So now you can see that I have this necklace that's sort of almost done. Now this could be completed as is, but what I want to do is I want to, and I'm just going to kind of hold it up here for a second, so you can see how nice and long this is. So what I want to do is I kind of want to trap that little charm at the bottom. So I am going to sort of find the center point here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of split it open there, and I'm going to add that link in the center there. So I'm going to add it probably, let's see, about 3 inches up on either side here. So what you're going to do is you're just going to open the little loops that you made here, just the same as you would a jump ring, so just by giving it just a little twist. And then I'm going to add it to the chain on this side here. There we go. And just close it up. And then I'm going to move to the other side here. Open that loop. And now here's where I just want to kind of make sure that it's going to hit the same side, or the same loop on the other side. All right. So you're creating a little sort of pendulum swinging little bar there. All right. And just closing that up. All right. So now you've created a little necklace here that has a lovely little bar at the bottom. And then when you go to put your little chain here at the top, it's the same chain, so it's that same style. And then you're just going to have a nice little wear. So let me go ahead and kind of pick that up and show you how that might wear on your necklace. So there you go. So a nice little sort of fun little thing. And I know mine's a little off. There we go. Okay. I was like, just as I'm holding it. So just kind of a fun little piece, and it looks just really nice when you wear it. And you know, silver on black always looks fabulous. So.
And what I like is it's 2 necklaces, but your eye is drawn to 3 points. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a fun little trick that it looks actually like there's 3 things happening.
Yeah, it's a neat little eye trick. So that's kind of fun. All right, so let's see. You did your sterling, right?
I did
your
my
noodle bead there.
Did my noodle bead. I think, like you were saying before, maybe we'll move on to rings and bracelets because we see a lot of stacked and layered necklaces, but we also see stacked and layered rings as well as bracelets. So I actually, for years, have stacked my wedding rings.
Yeah.
If you've watched some of the past videos, I used to actually have 4. And I'm sorry, these are not very clean. I have a 3-year-old. I bake. I play with Play-Doh. I'm sorry. It is the way it is. But yeah, so you can mix and match rings. I do it with my wedding rings. I've got gold and I've got platinum. And I did this actually because my grandma gave me these 2. And then I had this one that I bought for myself. And this is actually a little big, so I trapped the big one in there. So I just...
Which is actually really good if you have if you're a size 6 and you have like a 7, it's like, oh, let me just trap it in there.
Yeah, so I just trap it in there. But I love the layered ring look, and I love mixing metals. And so we have a bunch of rings now at Beadaholique.com to stack and layer.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've been really excited to get in is, and I'm going to start with these. These are adjustable rings. So if you've been seeing those adjustable style bangles, we now have them in rings. So what's really great is they go from size 5 to 7, 6 to 8, and 8 to 10. So they have a nice little mechanism where they can actually give a little bit of give there to slide between. And what's really fun is you can trap a little charm. So let's say you wanted to add a little jump ring and a little teensy little charm. I think that's so sweet. But to get that sort of stacked look, you know, you can take, let's see, I'm just gonna try to do this kind of on my finger. Let's see, so we have this beautiful little stardust style there. And let's say I wanted to take something that is a little bit more of a band, so I can add that on there. And let's see. And then we also have rose gold, which is really pretty. And this is just sort of all those beautiful mixing metals. But there's also just fun little things. We have little rhinestone ones here as well. And I know you guys have seen the look where it's in the middle of the fingers and all over. So just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea, we have size 3 to 10 in that sterling silver. So if you wanted to take a little size 3, or let's see a size 4. Let's see if this fits on the top of my thing there.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Oh yeah, so there you go. So yeah, so I could do like a size 4 ring there, and it's very comfortable. It's very teensy and tiny. So just a lot of fun that you can do with these. And I do want to point out these are really fun. These are cultured freshwater pearls that we have here, and they're just really, really sweet and darling. And let me just see, even if you just wanted to wear just one, let's say I just wanted to wear a teensy little one. So just see how lovely and delicate that is on the hand. So just really fun. These are brand new at Beadaholique, so be sure to check those out. It'll be in our new products section. And yeah, so that sort of kind of wraps up rings. I mean, you know, when I think of rings, like I have like my wedding rings, of course, but you know, I also like to just sort of play around with it. So I'm more of a right-handed kind of play ring sort of person. So I would definitely want these, but you know, I have recently done a bit of travel and I didn't want to take my rings with me. I was just nervous about it, but I still wanted to have like a nice little band on my finger. So this would be a great little opportunity to sort of, you know, a nice little sterling silver band. That way it's sort of nice for travel, but then it's also nice and lightweight. And I mean, I wouldn't want to lose it, but if I did, it wouldn't be as terrible as losing my wedding rings.
I have done the same thing.
I have that fear. I don't know if other women have that fear. I'm just like, oh no, it's gonna get lost. So
especially with like adventure travel, yeah, I do this exact same thing.
I was terrified to lose it in Africa. Absolutely terrified. I was like, no, it can't come with me.
Yeah. So great tip.
But yeah, so I was gonna say it's a great little opportunity. And just really quick, you know, I know we talked a little bit about sterling silver and gold filled and rose gold filled. These are that. So all these rings are going to be sterling silver, gold filled, or rose gold filled. Yeah. So really great quality again that you're getting there. So. Yeah. Cool.
All right, so that's rings, and now bracelets. We love bracelets. We make so many of them.
Oh my goodness!
But we have fun.
And you know, I'm gonna pull some of these over here, and you're gonna recognize a lot of these familiar faces because a lot of these guys are kits. So this is a kind of a great opportunity. If you've bought some of our kits in the past, this is a great time to sort of add and stack them up here. So I'm just going to start kind of just pointing out some of the familiar faces you might see here. So I have some wrap bracelets here. Now these are the cotton style wrap bracelets, and this is a single wrap made on the Wrap It Loom. So just a great little thing there. And then we have thin loom pieces, which are great for the stacking idea because then, you know, it's all about kind of getting in the little tiny pieces. So this is a wonderful little piece. And this is actually part of a duo. And I have one of the full duos over here. I'm going to kind of bring it out to you.
So if we want to put that on my wrist, or just lay it on my wrist.
Yeah.
So
go for it.
This kit actually comes with everything you need to make 2 bracelets already. So you can do the 2 bracelets. And then once you've got these, you can add something else to it. Like let's say, got these pretty little guys down here, excuse me.
Yeah.
So you just have like this adjustable one in gold. Now you can mix and match your metals, but you can put that with it. You can put something else.
Here's another great example of a set of pieces that we have. So this is the flat Kumihimo with beads. And you will actually get the components to make both pieces. So you could be wearing just one little one if you wanted. Let's see, I'll just kind of dress myself here. Or you can wear both and kind of really get that lovely little look there.
And that's why we came up with the bracelet set for the kit idea, was because we were seeing people wearing multiple bracelets at the same time. And we really wanted to offer something that was on trend with that. So here's Kat's got both bracelets on. And then she can even add more.
Yeah.
She can do
Let's go for it.
Another little guy with some color.
I was like, that adds a little color and a little charm there. And, you know, even if I wanted to, let's see. Oh, let's add a little more color, but keep that turquoise.
Yeah.
You know, so now I have a loom piece there. So there's just kind of a lot you can do with it. It's really just dependent on your outfit, but there's just so many fun things. And so I'm really glad that we have all these kits to sort of pull from and utilize. And you know, this is just a little stretch cord, which is really great and very quick and easy to make stuff like that. So,
and I'd say if you're a little bit like, say you're overwhelmed, you've got all these bracelets at home and you're like, how do I make this look right? A great tip is to find one common thread. Now you can't totally mix and match. Random actually works with this trend. But if you look on Kat's wrist, there's a theme of this blue is very reminiscent of this blue, kind of that aqua turquoise. So they kind of are similar. You've got a gold theme going. You know, she could even add, this is of course on the other side, she could add this to it. She could add, actually any of these, I'm just pulling them off, but she could do a bangle. You can mix loom with kumihimo, with stringing, with a solid bangle. But if you are a little bit overwhelmed and you don't know where to start and you want to kind of have a guideline, it is nice you can pull out a common theme, a common couple themes, like a color is a great way of doing it, or a metal type.
And it doesn't even have to be a lot all at once, you know. Let's say I just wanted to do, just before we redress our busts here, but, you know, let's say I just wanted to wear this one here and a little bangle. See, that's still stacked and it's still layered and it's still really, really nice. And, you know, if you want, you can add on more. This is a different style of Kumihimo. But even that, so I have like a whole black, white, and gold thing happening.
Yeah.
So just, like I said, there's kind of no wrong way to do it, but just play and mix and match, and it's a really wonderful trend. And, you know, you'll start to notice like all the things that you can kind of bridge the gap with, and that's a great way to kind of... I'm all magnetic everywhere now. But it's a great way to kind of figure out like, oh, I like the gold in that one and the black in that one. Maybe if I add in a color one, so it can kind of inform some of your future designs. Like, oh, I want to add a purple one in that I can change out because I have a favorite purple shirt or whatever it is. So lots of fun stuff to do. And the adjustable bangles are great, and you know, they're really personalized with the charms that you could create here. So I just made this one and I put a little star and a little zodiac and just some color. But again, like, you know, just by stacking up 3 of the adjustable bangles, which we actually sell in sets of 3, which is really, really wonderful. And then having 2 of the stretch bracelets with some gemstones and some other color. And, you know, it just makes it really nice and easy.
Yeah.
So,
and I've made 2 little sets right here that would just be perfect together. And
perfect.
You've got just, again, that white theme and the gold theme, but you've added a little wood. You've got some fiber happening here. And then over here, you've got that great cord. And then again, the loom and the turquoise. So you've got like a brown and a brown. And then you got the turquoise and gold combo. So it's a fun way of, I think it's fun to just mix and match. And then if you do want to make a few just basic components to go with it, I think the stretch bracelets are really fun.
Yeah.
They're super quick. They're super easy. You can just use beads that you have around your house. But you can just make a few, you know, make like 5 stretch bracelets in a half hour.
Oh, yeah.
And just be like, oh, okay, well, here's a white one. Here's a turquoise. Here's a more brown tones or autumn colors.
Yeah, I think it's all about kind of tonally, like making it all sort of blend together. And I actually found, I wanted to find a use for this, and I was like, oh gosh, how am I going to use this? This is just charm chain, but it's got these cool little coins on it, and I cut enough of it just to make a cute little bracelet. But how adorable is that? And it's just charm chain, and all I would need to do is just put a little clasp on the back. And, you know, Julie did this, she had a version for Halloween that was so cute, and you guys all loved it, and because it had these little skulls on it. But, you know, as it can be as simple as that. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to get intimidated by it. But, you know, and that's a great thing to, like, especially with a lot of our kits, to try Loom. You know, we really spell it out for you guys, so it's very introductory for you guys. So, but yeah, have fun with it. Yeah.
So I think we'll see maybe if we have any more questions, and if not, we're going to show the giveaway one more time and just give you a few more minutes to enter. We do the giveaways live. So if you're watching this after the fact, I'm sorry, tune in next time.
Yes,
the giveaways are always, they start at the beginning, and you enter by commenting. Any type of comment works, a hello, a hi, I'm from here, or a question. But we do like to give it away live at the end of each class. So let's take one quick more look at the giveaway while a few more people can comment, and then we're going to go ahead and choose a giveaway winner.
All right, so what we have here is we're going to be giving away this black velvet necklace easel, and you can kind of see it out of its package here. And what we're going to do is we're going to also give you a sterling silver chain, a couple of charms, a gold-filled chain, a couple of charms, and this 4-piece travel toolkit. So this is going to go to one very lucky winner. But I just want to take a second and say just thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. It has been wonderful. Yes. I know we were kind of all over the place with a lot of this stuff, but it's because there's so many options. So it's really fun to play with, and we have fun doing these classes. So be sure to tune in next time when we do our next class. And if you're curious as to when that next class is, always check Facebook or Instagram. We are always on there to let you know when everything's going to be, and we try to give you guys enough notice so that you can tune in. But of course, this will be on our Facebook page after the fact. So you guys, if you're watching later, it means you found it. But if you're just tuning in now and you're like, oh shoot, I want to go back, this will be live on Facebook for you for all time.
Yeah. And also another tip 2, if you are wanting to find out more about the classes too, subscribe to our newsletter. You could go to beadaholique.com, subscribe to the newsletter. You'll find out about sales, but we also mention happenings like this in it as well, which will give you more information, which is nice because it goes right to your inbox.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, because that's where I remember, if it's not in an email sometimes, I'm like, I forget, and I'm actually I've been good lately about putting stuff in my phone. So if something comes up or there's a webinar I want to tune in for or a live class, I'm really good about sending a little reminder on my phone because I don't want to miss it, especially when there's giveaways.
Yes.
All right. So is there anything else you can think of, Julie?
You know what? I think that's it.
Good. I think we covered everything. We did a good job.
We did. That was a long
We covered everything. That was good. All right.
All right. So our winner for today is, hopefully I say this right, Matoisha Bias. So I am so sorry if I didn't say that right. We will be contacting you and we'll be figuring out how to get you your prize. Congratulations. And thanks everybody for joining us.
Yeah,
this was really
you so
fun.
much. And we will see you next time here on our Facebook Live and our YouTube Live. So thank you for everyone tuning in on all streaming networks here.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.